Yellowstone, a widely watched series on cable. And why not? It has a classic feel to it. It's pretty interesting and addictive as well. But did you guys know that the actors in this show have to follow some strict rules made by the studio? Well, from the crazy new hygiene rules to no phones allowed on the set, allow us to share with you some of the crazy strict rules that the cast of Yellowstone must follow. Number 13. Social media posts. One thing about social media is that it's obvious that everyone can use and post on their social walls in their own way. It wouldn't be completely acceptable for the directors and producers to keep tabs on or dictate what the cast members post on their social media accounts. However, the studios have included some points in the actors' contracts that limit what they can post about the show's content. This means that if any actor posts something outside of these parameters, they will face repercussions. Number 12. No phones on set. The most important rule on the Yellowstone set is that the cast can't bring cell phones on set. And if they do have a phone on set, it needs to be turned off. Like, who wants to be in the middle of a scene when someone's cell phone rings and ruins it? That's not possible. The studio thinks that the actors have a job to do. They're really up to something and they can't let a cell phone get in the way of what they're trying to do. The director of Yellowstone is excited about making the movie, and all he wants is for it to not be stopped or ruined in any way. And it doesn't seem like too much to ask an entire group of actors to put their phones away. Number 11. COVID regulations. The guidance for how the television industry should go about filming projects during the COVID-19 pandemic has changed seemingly countless times. And those are the good times when filming is actually possible. Many shows and film projects have had to deal with huge delays, with entire production crews shutting down while sitting around and waiting to be finally allowed to go back to work once back on set. Number 10. Must stay 8 feet apart. With spit flying, it's kind of hard for actors to perform while wearing a mask. But with performing rules suggesting that Yellowstone actors have to remain 8 feet apart from one another. Nope, we're not talking about a Cole Sprouse movie. Of course, there will be scenes that would require the Yellowstone actors to be considerably closer. But for regular conversation, they will most likely have to remain 8 feet apart. It could also make it harder for the Yellowstone cast to riff off one another and react to their co-workers' performance. However, with the power of VFX now, I am sure filmmakers will find a way around it, and it will not just have to look like one of the actors' breath smells.
So you want to be a cowboy, huh?
Life kind of robbed me of my options.
Well, that's how it usually starts.
Number 9. There's no buffet service. Well-known TV shows always make it seem like the best thing about being an actor is getting free food on set. I don't know if that really happened, but I do know that if it did, those days are over and productions are no longer allowed to put out a food service cart like a buffet. This makes sense, of course. So now the cast can't eat between breaks. Not that I think many actors spend much of their time snacking on set. Luckily for them, this doesn't mean they won't get fed anymore. They can still have a single-serving food service as long as it follows the safety rules that have been set up. Number 8. All of the younger actors have to attend school. As with most production companies, the people in charge of Yellowstone don't let the younger actors skip school just for the production. Even though the younger actors work full-time on the set, they still have to go to school because the producers want them to get a good education. It might seem crazy to expect kids to go to school and work as actors full-time at the same time. That's why the younger cast members can only work a certain number of hours. To help these young minds even more, there are tutors on set who can give a standard quality education without interrupting the actors' work hours. Number 7. Secret actors. Speaking of secrets, actors aren't the only ones who are kept in the dark about major Yellowstone information. Fans are too. And we're not just talking about potential spoilers here. We're talking about the identities of actors cast in specific roles. As was already said, now that the world has shrunk and you can access it from the phone in your pocket, secrecy is important to keep private information from leaking out. Number 6. There is no requirement for crew vetting. The Yellowstone production has an interesting rule about vetting their cast and crew to work on the set of Yellowstone. The cast must give permission for the show's producers to thoroughly vet them, as they want to make sure that everyone working on the set doesn't create an unsafe environment. I don't believe it means they won't hire anyone with a background. It simply means that they want to be certain that they have all of the facts before inviting someone into their circle. A background check can assist in identifying any red flags. It is always critical to ensure that the set is safe and sound. Number 5. Health checks. health checks were another way they kept the set safe at the time. One of the greatest risks at that time is for someone to arrive at the set sick. So everyone is checked on a regular basis. They don't have complete control over what people do in their personal lives, so there's always the chance that someone will get sick and bring it to the set. Aside from the risk of endangering lives, it can also be a major concern for the show's budget if they are forced to close due to illness. Moreover, it can cause significant delays, and we all know that time is money. So doing everything possible to ensure a safe and healthy setup is a top priority. Number 4. Strict content rules. You might think that because this largely takes place on a cattle ranch, they would be a bit lacking in some of the rules of the actors and such because of this more laid-back and chill nature. But you'd be wrong. After all, this is CW's, right? And that's where the catch comes in. As you all may know, Yellowstone doesn't actually have the same filter as other movies and TV shows. They show blood, they swear, and they can drink and smoke all the time. However, smoking is prohibited and foul language is rarely used. You might not think this is a restriction on the actors, but it is if they have to watch what they say, how they act, and more. Number 3. Stay as quiet as possible. An actor's main job is to act, and a big part of that is through speech, whether it's quick, witty dialogue or heart-wrenching monologues. The use of speech is usually essential for movies. But in Yellowstone, actors are told to talk less because there are worries that it will make spittle spread more easily, which is for safety precautions because of the COVID outbreak. And this can only make the Yellowstone actor's job more difficult. Number 2. Be ready to drop everything and go to work. If you hate being told to do something at the last minute, the Yellowstone set isn't for you. Many actors get offered jobs with little notice because of sudden schedule changes, and they need to be ready to drop everything and go to work. Number 1. Do your own makeup and costume. Lastly, the cast had to do everything by themselves. When thinking of a typical idea of what it's like to work on a set, actors can seem like they get spoiled a lot. They don't have to do anything to get dressed or put on makeup. Instead, everything is done for them. Sorry to disappoint anyone who likes to complain about actors, but that's not true. And the recent pandemic has made it so that actors have to do more of their own costume and makeup work than ever before. Additionally, most TV shows, including Yellowstone, have makeup artists whose only job is to make the actors look as good as possible. Depending on the character, they will sometimes make them look bad. Because of all the rules and concerns about hygiene, makeup artists aren't very good at their jobs, and cast members ought to do their own makeup. So, would you be able to go 12 hours without your phone? And can you keep quiet just because of the safety precautions just like the Yellowstone cast? Voice your thoughts in the comment section below. Give a thumbs up to this video and we'll see you again in the next one.